Lars Fredrickson is a big wrestling fan.
Bro, yes, to an absurd degree. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review podcast. I've got a very special guest today. This is somebody who's like a Texas punk rock legend, at least in my opinion, man. This is somebody I've been listening to for a very, very long time. David Rodriguez, also known as David TEJAS, and he does vocals in Crumbums. I don't know if y'all are still 100% active, but Starving Wolves and the Casualties, which, I mean, I don't know, dude. That's like street punk royalty as far as I'm concerned. So what's up, David? How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be chatting with you. I really got thrown off my game with such a great response that you gave to Ossuaries, and I saw it, and I wrote you that night, and I was like, dude, that was really nice and thoughtful. So I'm kind of like a titty baby with stuff. When people are kind and genuine like you were, it meant a lot to me, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. I take this pretty seriously, but I also love it really, really, truly, and deeply. And I don't say things that I don't mean. I don't sugarcoat stuff, and I sure as hell don't pander to anybody. So
I know. We're gonna talk about the whole interview. I got a couple of things to say to you, and also every once in a while, let's talk like wrestlers. Dude,
So I pulled up in a drive-thru with my kids, and I had asked them something about Hulk Hogan. They had no idea who Hulk Hogan was. So I ordered my whole food. I was like, "Can I get a kid's meal, brother?" And then my kids were dying laughing. So now every time I just have I'll just think of it. I'll just do that when we're in a car somewhere, and it'll just catch them off guard. It'll embarrass the crap out of them and make everybody laugh. I think it's great because while I don't watch wrestling now, I absolutely did as a kid, and I do think that wrestling personalities are pretty fun. And I mean, shoot, like some of my favorite people in the world love wrestling. So I don't have a problem with it. I just don't watch it as much. Kind of stopped watching with Stone Cold bounce. That kind of bounce too.
Lars Fredrickson is a big wrestling fan.
Bro, yes, to an absurd degree. That guy loves that shit, man. That guy's awesome, bro. I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times. That's another one of my bucket list guests I'd like to get on one of these days. Who knows, man? He's busy too. Everybody's busy, so I'm lucky to get anybody to talk to me. So I do appreciate your time, man. I really do. So when did Crumbums start? Do you have that information off the top of your head?
Okay, so during that time was wild. It was super wild. So if you were to ask me, I say 2000. If you ask the original drummer Chuck Crumbum, who's an amazing singer, an amazing guy, Chuck Crumbum, he'll say 99. I say 2000, but we were all very drunk at that time, so I'm gonna go between the end of 99 to 2000 is when we started.
Okay, so there was a guy,
dude. It's a trip for me.
Do what?
It's a fucking trip for me to think that it's 2024, and that is like a quarter of 100 years almost.
Yeah, dude. Bro.
But I mean, I would love to talk about Crumbums because I am a Crumbum before I'm anything else.
Well, that's how I first got introduced to your music, and that's when I met you first, which I'm sure you wouldn't remember because I can barely remember it. It was 20-something years ago. I was living with do you know John Hale?
Mm-hmm. Of course, John Hale. I just played at John Hale's club. Crumbums just played at his place in Houston.
Okay.
Like a few months ago.
Well, I've known him since we were like little kids, like 5.
Arm
and
Arm.
That's what I was going to tell you. Is I was living in the Arm & Arm house, just kind of bumming around, trying to get my life together. and making T-shirts when he was telling me about this band called Crumbums, and I always loved the band name. I was like, yo, that band name rips, dude. And then when he showed me the music, I was like, yo, there's somebody from Texas that plays like this. And I was new to that stuff. I was like 18, 19 years old. And I was listening to a lot of 77 style punk and UK 82 stuff, which I still love to this day. But I didn't understand that there were bands that sounded like that East Coast, like street punk, New York style stuff down in Texas. So I was really proud of the fact that you guys came from here. So I've always been a huge supporter of anything that you do, but Crumbums specifically, because I thought it was really cool that you were from Texas, man. I thought it was awesome.
You know what's wild to me is like we really had no concept of what we were trying to do. So it's always funny. I have to admit, it's always funny to me that we get kind of mixed into the East Coast street punk thing, but because we were so fucking Texas. And
yes,
when we started, I was just learning like about Casualties. Trey is the guy that knew everything. I was like blasting same thing like Special Duties and Exploited.
Yeah.
Into a lot of Wu-Tang Clan. And that's what I was listening to. Trey was introducing us. Trey's the guitar player of Crumbums, one of my best friends, like a brother. But he was showing us like the Unseen, the Casualties, all of that East Coast style, because this is when computers were very new. And
expensive, dude. Like,
yeah, he knew how to work a computer. So for me, I didn't even know that was happening. And so it was funny because we were just playing what we were playing. And the interesting like circle that I want to kind of talk about with you during this is there was something electric, magnetic going on in the world, but let's say in the US, there were the Casualties, there was Unseen, and a couple years younger than them, there was the Crumbums, Clip 45, a Global Threat, and Monster Squad. And we were all the same age, kind of doing the same thing. Like Casualties was a little bit older than us, but when Crumbums started, Monster Squad started, Global Threat started, Clip 45 started, and we all started connecting together. And it was very cool and very different.
Well, like John Hale was like my version of that guy. He was showing me all this stuff. He found out, oh, you like the Casualties, and he's like, you should check this band out, and then this band, and then I probably had 30 albums or so that I wouldn't even had. Eventually, I would have stumbled across it, I'm sure, but like I got it when it was coming out, when it was young, and I was learning this stuff, and I've always been a skateboarder and like a jeans and hoodie type guy.
Yeah.
And I never looked right with a mohawk. I've had mohawks. I got a photo of me and John on the day I graduated, and I had a green mohawk, and like I never looked right with them. At least I didn't feel like I did, right? But I always loved that aesthetic, man, and I just thought it represented something to me that goes beyond the music. It's more of like a stand up, puff your chest out, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. But if you get to know me, I'm a good person type of shit. Like it's like a really like, hey man, maybe you should talk to me before you start talking shit type of thing. I don't know if I'm articulating it very well, but I feel like you probably know what I mean. Where it's a self thing, man, and it's like so I've always loved it, and I was glad to be around that stuff, especially when I got to be around it, because I'm finding out now that a lot of people that I talk to, I just turned 42 a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people that I'm around are a little younger than me, and so they missed out on, like, let's say 2000 to 2005 or 6 is when they were coming into it, so they missed a big chunk of things that are very important to me, and that's why I did that video. I don't know if you saw it or not, but the street punk video I did, and it talked about early like mid 90s stuff. Yeah, I'm working on a part 2 right now where I'm actually, that's what I was doing when you messaged me. I was writing it, and I'm doing stuff about like where that came from, like early 80s stuff over in the UK. I don't know if I'll do it justice, but I'm working really hard on it. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
Cool. 42. So from this point on, I want you to call me sir, because I am your elder.
Bro, so how did you stumble upon like punk rock in general? What was the linchpin for you? How did you, was it skateboarding? Because that seems to be a very common answer with skateboarding.
Of course, anybody in the 40s like us, like
right.
wild, and we're from Texas, so we dealt with a lot of cowboys and people our age. Back then, we called them kickers. Did you call them kickers?
Hell yeah, we call them kickers. Dude, we have a radio station down here called Kick, KIKK-FM. And we called them kickers, dude. I mean, it even looked super suspect because it had 3 Ks in the title. I don't know. Anyways, it just looked super sketchy to me. I thought it was real weird, man. But yeah, hell yeah, we called them kickers.
Yeah, so I grew up with a bunch of kickers, but I mean, sometimes I think about it, and it was like I was destined, as silly as it sounds, to do this. I remember the first time I ever saw punk rockers when I was like 4 and like 7. I remember it just being like, what is this alien? And the first time I ever saw a punk rocker, this is a funny story, and it kind of goes along with your nice story. About give us a second before you talk shit about us. I was at a Diamond Shamrock, and I remember it like vividly. And I was looking at these little toys. You remember there was like back in the day they would be in like a little metal circular thing. And I was looking at these toys, and there were these little toys you put in water, and they're like a sponge, and it would be like a little man, and he would get bigger. And I remember my mom was like, "Come on, let's go." And there was this punk rocker in there. When he got the toy, bought it for me, and he was like, "Here, kid." And he walked off and gave me this toy. And I remember my mom was like, "Why did he give you that? Why did he give you that toy? What happened? What's the deal?" And it was like, it was just a cool dude. I remember he had like a mohawk. It wasn't up, but he was like total punked out dude. Oh no, you froze. You froze on me. Are you there?
A few moments later.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
Hold on. Hey, get the dog out of here for me. You can leave him here. It's all right. He's fine. He's just sleeping on the floor. Okay. Dude, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Oh, no. It's all good. All right. Okay. And then I'll be able to put, and then there comes your pup, too. It'd be like one of them 5 minutes later things from like SpongeBob SquarePants. It just went zap. I don't know, dude. I was like middle of laughing at something you were saying, and then my screen just froze. What's up, little puppy?
Poncho.
Dude, it's so weird that that's actually what made me like have to talk to you, because I want to finish your story in a second, but I had a dog for 18 years named Poncho, bro. It blew my mind when you said that dog's name was Poncho, and it was spelled the same way, because everybody I know always spelled it P-O-N.
Poncho.
And I'm like, no, it's Pancho, dude. Like, it's some Texas shit, bro. That's awesome, dude. What's up, little buddy? He's so happy right now. He's chilling.
Oh, dude, this is my sidekick.
That's amazing. Okay, so, well, before I was so rudely cut off by modern technology, you were in the middle of telling me about that fella that bought you that sponge toy, and that was like the first punk rocker you ever had contact with, that you ever saw. I have a very similar story. Not quite, well, it's pretty similar to me. I was like 10 years old, and I've told this before on this channel, so I won't make it super long. But I was in Walmart with my mom, and I was standing behind this dude, and he was kind of a tall, skinny fella, but he had a big blue mohawk, and he had tattoos, and he had like a, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it must have been like, pegged up pants and a battle vest or something. But I remember looking at him and going, I want to look like that. And my mom's like, sure, buddy. And like pats me on the head. She's like, whatever. There's no way. You know, fast forward 10, 15 years, I'm all tattooed up. At the time, I definitely had colored hair and shit. She's just like, I'm like, I told you that guy was rad. I didn't even get to meet him. He was freaking cool. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
World.
it makes an impression, dude. I think Destined to Be This Way is a very accurate description of the stuff that we do.
There was that, and my dad worked at the university.
Oh, excuse me.
And I always, anybody that knows, that lives in a city where a university is prominent, you have a street where there's all these little shops, you know, and they cater to young people, like, you know, college kids, and there's
Right.
rock and roll, like punk stores. And so back then, in our old days, you'd be like 10 years old. Your dad would give you $5 and say, I'll see you in like 5 hours. So he would go to work on the weekends and give me like $5. And back then, $5, you could eat lunch and have a drink and probably get like 2 candy bars or something.
Right.
So I would walk up and down what we call the drag.
Yep.
And there was this amazing record store called Sound Exchange. And I would go and I would be like scared because I was like young and it was all dark and scary. And there was like Sam Hain posters. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what is that?
That's awesome.
You know, and then also the Clash recorded Rock the Casbah in Austin. And I remember when MTV was like first coming out, they would play Rock the Casbah, and my dad would be like, that's this place and that place and this place and that place. And we would drive by it. Like, my dad wasn't like a punk rock guy at all, but it was like he was way into music. And so we would go kind of look for the spots where the Clash did Rock the Casbah. And so it was those little tiny, seeds that would be, you know, planted.
Dude, I had no idea that was filmed in Austin.
Yeah, they were.
That's crazy.
They were way, way, way into like Austin rock and roll country. And yeah, there was a guy named Joe Ely. So he was like rock and roll country kind of guy. And so Joe Ely would bring the Clash here and they would do stuff, and the Clash would bring Joe Ely to like England and Europe. So, you know, it was a very interesting time, I'm sure. Like, I wish I had like a time capsule or a little time machine to go back and see that. So the Clash, they like loved hip hop, and they also loved like real like country, but I think they really got turned on to the Austin scene because we had like Rocky Erickson here and like all these like kind of punky country rock and roll musicians, and they loved it here.
Austin's always been a hub for music, but it's always had its own style. Like, ever since I can remember, I've loved to go up there and just hang out. I mean, I lived there for a little while. I worked at Kirby Lane on the drag for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I shopped at Sound Exchange a lot. I go up there and hang out with Chris Klink, and we go drive around and hit up record stores. Like, every time I come up there, he's like, bro, we got to stop hitting these record stores. We leave with bags of shit, man. Like,
yeah, is a record maniac.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Chris for being rad as fuck, man. That guy's awesome. Yeah, dude. It's interesting, man. I think we've all had anybody. I say we all, as in like any kind of person that's associated with punk or punk rock music. There's these seeds that get planted. There's these like 2 or 3 things that we can all kind of, you know, visit again on a moment's notice, and it'll tell you exactly how we got where we were. I had there's a place called Diamond Head Records over in like Northwest Houston for a while. I think it was like even spring. It was way up far. And my dad lived out there, and he would do the same thing. He'd drop me off with $10 or something and be like, hey, go skateboard with your buddies and I'll pick you up in a few hours. And I would always go get like a little bit of food with that money, and then I would save the rest of it up. And every few weeks, I'd have 10, 20 bucks I could go buy a record or a CD with.
Or
And I was do what?
or a bag of weed.
Or a bag of weed. I never did weed, but I was a big proponent of hallucinogens, man. I used to do a lot of, well, LSD, a lot of mushrooms.
Oh man, Houston was a rad hub for acid.
Dude,
I
I'm
was
telling
like-
you, man.
I was an acid freak when I was a kid.
Dude.
Like now it scares me because
Well, yeah.
I remember me and Javier from Crumbums, we went to high school together, and he would put it in his eyes. And then-
Jesus.
yeah, I know. And then of course, because I'm a follower, thanks, Javier, I would put it in my eyes, and then we'd have like 2 hits in our eyes, and one of my best friends, Pablo, and we have 2 hits in our mouth, and we'd be like,
Bro.
But acid was so much fun in Texas in the 90s, like the early 90s.
It was different though. It was like a cleaner, whatever the hell it was. Because I used to take that shit and go to school.
Do you remember Blotter?
That's exactly what I was fixing to bring up. Is that I used to do? Yes, I remember blotter acid. One time, okay, hold on. So I'm in this record store one day, right? And I'm like a kid, dude. I don't know how old I was. I might have been just getting into Rancid. So I was probably about 14, maybe 15. But I was a skateboarder. I didn't have a car yet. And I'm hanging out in this record store, and this dude walks in, and he's a punk rock guy, and he's got this big box. You remember back in the day, you could sell tapes and CDs and make a little bit of money off that shit, you know? Yeah. And so he walks in, and I'm kind of standing around with a skateboard. I probably had a mohawk at the time, and he's just kind of looking at me, and I'm just in there by myself, and I'm kind of nervous. I don't really know what I'm looking for, but I knew like what I wanted to see it. I'd be like, oh, that, I want that. And so he's like, you know, hey kid, what are you looking for? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I don't know why you're even talking to me. And he's like, well, what do you like? And I said, well, I like Rancid. And I pick up a Rancid CD, and he's like, oh man. And then he yells at the guy that works there, hey, you know, so-and-so, you care if I just give him these? And the guy's like, I mean, they're your tapes, do whatever you want. And he goes, hey, you got a tape player? I was like, yeah, I love tapes. And he goes, and he like rummages through this box, and he pulls a tape out. I wish I could figure out what tape that was he pulled out, because he put it in his shirt pocket. And they gave me this box of tapes. And it was like Op Ivy, early Rancid, early Bad Religion, Pennywise, NoFX, all the old Epitaph stuff. And then it had a little bit of Exploited. I think there was like a GBH tape in there. Like just this like,
ow,
like crazy gift box. And I'm telling you, man, if that, there's 2 instances where I was given tapes in my life, but if they hadn't both happened, I don't know that I'd be the same person, because there was that. And then my friend's stepbrother chose me to give these tapes to instead of my friend, because I was the one that was actually like skateboarding and out trying to, I don't know, wreak havoc and shit. And it was a cassette with Operation Ivy, Mr. T Experience, old Less Than Jake, and then I think it was something else, man, some other like Lookout band on it. But it was like between that tape of all that pop punk shit and then that box of shit that guy gave me, it completely changed my whole life. But it's like these little times I can pinpoint to like, oh, well, that definitely, you know, focused my energy that direction. So anyways, long story.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's true. Like the first time I ever met Bones, I have because of punk rock and maybe my the way I grew up and the things that I wanted are very different from a lot of other people. I want a house to feel safe in, you know. I want my little dog, and I want to play music. And I've been so lucky, and I have to say thank you to everybody that's ever been part of what I do, because I'm so fucking gifted. I'm so lucky. It sounds funny, but I've just been in this really weird, like, humbled spot recently where it's like my life is pretty good, dude. I met who's now like a brother. My mom knows Bones. My brother knows Bones. Bones is like family in my family. I met Bones like, man, dude, like almost seriously, like almost maybe 30 years ago. And I was at a record convention, and he saw me and was like, hey, kid. You know, he was older than me. And he saw like I had a Rancid patch or something. He's like, you ever heard of Operation Ivy? And we
Let's
were
go.
just like listening to them. But that was like one of my first interactions with Bones.
That's
And
awesome.
we're super close. So it's wild. It's a wild world.
Well, the community that we're a part of, being grateful is so important, man, because I know I don't play music, but I feel like my channel has been giving me a lot of opportunities to just like become friends with people that I've always wanted to know, but I didn't have any way to know them. You know, I don't really travel a lot, so it's hard for me to meet people outside of Texas for sure, but even outside of Houston is difficult sometimes. So it's a small community, man. It feels big sometimes, like when you go to like let's say you go to like a punk rock bowling, or like, I'm going to that No Effect show in Dallas in a few weeks, right? That's gonna feel kind of big. But if you really take a step back and look at it, if Metallica said they were playing their last Texas show ever, I feel like there'd be 500,000 people there. So,
Oh yeah,
you know, it's a little different, man. It's our little world.
for sure, dude, for sure.
Oh man. So where was there ever a point in time where you were doing music, be it with Crumbums or Starving Wolves or anybody, where you just knew, oh shit, like I think this is it for me. The rest of my life is going this direction, or did you just wake up one day and like, damn, I've been doing this my whole life?
I knew when I was about 12. Like it's wild. Starving Wolves played a show last night, and one of my friends' kids was there, and he was like 19 now.
Whoa.
But the thing was, a lot of my friends they'll crack up like from early on, from like middle school or elementary that I still know. They were like, dude, you always said you wanted to do this. You always wanted to do this, and I did. And like I said, I'm very lucky for the tragedies that happened that made
Right.
me push forward. I'm very lucky for I had a very not abnormal upbringing. You know, we grew up when our parents were, things were different back then. You know, people were just trying to learn how to get along.
For real.
Yeah, my parents got divorced. You know, it was a rough divorce, but that divorce is what helped me guide me to who I am. And I always wanted to play music. I fell in love with music because of both of my parents at a very, very young age. And I have zero, I have to be completely honest, I have zero musical talent.
I would beg to differ, but you know.
Yeah, but no, it's actually true. I have zero musical talent. I was very lucky to meet like my friend Javier from Crumbums. In my first band, Marcus Delgado, Pablo Nosa. They were kind of like musical geniuses. And I was a weirdo. And you know what I mean? They let me be a weirdo with them. And so I just kept going. And then when we started Crumbums, Trey, fucking musical genius. Javier, musical genius. Chuck Doran, musical genius. And I got to learn how to write. Like I was always kind of writing. I was always like a weirdo, like writing little things. So I finally got the opportunity to write. And man, these guys, when we started playing, they just expanded in their art. And because I was so self-conscious, which was a good thing, I started writing and writing and reading and writing. And that's what happened. And when I go back and I look at it and I talk to my old friends, they were like, you always wanted to do this. And I did. There was never an option to go to college, to get a good job, to do this or that. I always did something where there was wiggle room for me to play music. That's all I ever wanted to do. That's all I'm ever going to do.
Hell yeah. Dude, I ran into somebody, so I bartend at Alamo Draft House part-time.
I used to work at Alamo Draft House.
Dude, Chris was telling me that a bunch of people work there, and I was like, man, it doesn't really surprise me. It's really a hub for people that are creative to go, and if nothing else, you can get part-time work there so you can go out on tour or whatever. I know they're really good about letting people off of work. At least they have for me. I've been there a couple of years now. But I ran into somebody that I haven't seen in probably 20 years. This girl just walked in, and I looked at her. She goes, I know you. And I was like, hey, what's up? And she's like, Heather, remember? I said, actually, yeah, I got a photo of you in my house because the same day I took that photo with John, I actually took a photo with her and my brother because she was friends with my brother. Anyways, she told me, she looked at me, you know, because last time I saw her, I don't think I even had a single tattoo. I think we were still in high school, probably 25 years ago that I seen this girl. And so she kind of looked at me, and I had on my hoodie, and it's got a big Rancid back patch and a bunch of other shit on the front of it. And she kind of goes, man, all these years, and you never changed. And I was like, oh man, thank you. And I think she was surprised that I said thank you, but I was like, I was kind of stoked that I never, like, I'm not going to use the term sold out in the traditional sense because I don't know that that's what it means, but like I never just like gave up being me, like for, I don't know, for a suit and tie. Like I just can't imagine being unhappy.
There's a lot of terms that we use, and I'll say that don't mean shit.
Right.
We're used to saying words like generic, out, this or that, and those are actually lack of better terms. I mean, what would be selling out? And it's beyond, like, for me, and I'd like to say the same thing for you. It's beyond. There is no selling out. So I always say this: I never bought in. So
right.
I can't fucking sell out. And you know, there's been like so many good friends that I've had that I have. They do better, and people turn on them. It's like,
that I don't agree with. I don't think that's quote unquote selling out at all.
But and I look back at it and I go, well, who did sell out? And most of the people that we say sell out, you never were part of this.
Right.
I remember people saying, oh man, Sum 41 sold out. I was like, Sum 41? You listen to them?
Right.
Maybe they're nice guys. I don't know. They were never part of this, like, trudging through the fucking mix. When you go back, the way we used to make flyers, the way we throw house fucking parties and work so hard. The work that I did with Crumbums, I was like, I'm tearing my house apart right now. Just kind of having a blast. My wife is in Brazil, and I've got to get this house together before she'll kill me. But I found the cardboard of the first tape that we made because we Xeroxed.
Dude.
Everything. I'll go get it in a second. I'll show you.
Hell yeah.
But really? I feel like this. I could do whatever the fuck I want, and you want to tell me who the fuck are you?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's.
We'll probably get to this in this conversation, but like with Casualties, oh, we did better. We sold out.
Well, I don't. So, in my personal opinion, the term sold out has nothing to do with like corporatized, like, I don't know, man, corporate anything. It's all in the way I look at it is that people would sell out before a band would because it's more of an internal thing. Did you do something that you pledged you would never do for something that is worthless as a dollar? Like,
And most people will do that. But also there's another thing. A lot of times we get very connected to a band and they're my band. That's my
right.
band. I love them. While you go to your nice job and your family helps you with money and this and that, right?
Right.
We are basically t-shirt salesmen.
Right. Right.
We make money. So we work really hard throughout the year. We try to write music, try to do what we love, and we try to share it with people. But how do you think we make money? So when you go to your house, this is what I always kind of talk with people. When you go back home after you work at like your corporate job, even though you don't think it's corporate, you have a corporate job.
Yeah.
And your bills are paid. We're in a fucking van.
Right.
Trying to put pennies together to continue. Because this is what we love to do. And so it's always very, very funny to me when people talk like that. And I can guarantee you 99.9% of people could not live in a van for 8 weeks at a time.
Hell no, they couldn't. No, man. I think that I find it very strange. Like, because even with that term, I don't use it often because I don't think about it often because it doesn't have it doesn't hold a lot of weight to me, right? Like you're just saying, like,
of course.
So I find it strange that the quote unquote most punk rock kids that you'll meet anywhere, be it on the internet or at a show or whatever, they're the ones that are unhappy with a band making some money. And I'm like, well, dude, they probably been doing this for 15 years. They can't make a little cash, pay some bills a little easier. Like they can't have a good weekend where they don't have to worry about shit. Because like you said, most bands that I know aren't really making any money. I just had a long conversation with a close friend of mine who's, quote unquote, a normie. You know what I'm saying? He's a regular dude. And he's like, hey, you think this band's making any money doing this? And I was like, no. I didn't even flinch. I was like, no. They're like, no. I know them personally. They're not making any. He's like, dude, they're selling. Every time their label drops a record, they sell out of it. I was like, well, that's the label, bro. It's not even the same thing. I said, the label's probably not making any money either. I was like, it ain't about that. It's about making the music.
1990, maybe that happened.
Right. But and he wasn't talking negatively at all. He was just inquiring about like my thoughts on it. And it was like, it was blowing his mind that we would all do this stuff. And we spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week for little to no money. And it's like, I think some of us have this itch that we have to scratch. And it's not really, it all sounds great. Oh, I don't do it for the money. But to a certain degree, everybody does it for the money because you have to do something for money. It's a necessary evil. You have to have money. But it's like, there's an itch that we're trying to scratch. And it's like, I have this creative itch, which is why I started doing this channel and why I started doing videos like that street punk video, because I had this desire to learn stuff, to preserve it, to pass it along, and to meet people. You have desire to spread a word and a message. So that's what you're doing. And it's like, we all have this itch that we have to scratch. Now, if we get paid for it, great. If we don't, great. As long as ends are being met, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't know. I think most people feel that way too. At least people in our circles, anyhow.
Yeah, of course.
I did want to talk to you about the Casualties a little bit. If you have some time to talk about that, I was so stoked whenever I found out you were doing vocals with them, man. I thought that was so badass. How did that come about?
I will give you the long story very short.
Okay.
Go back to like I was telling you about Trey. He was the first guy on a computer. And so when we started Crumbums, we were like, how can we play with these people? Like our music was garbage, complete garbage. But we wanted to play with them. And in punk rock, you can you can do that. You can be a garbage band with heart and play with big bands.
I would love to be able to go, no, man, blah, blah, but I totally understand that because I've
Yeah.
been that shit band playing with the awesome band that I loved.
Yeah. So Trey was on like these like chat boards or
Yes.
whatever the fuck it was. And so bands like the Casualties and Unseen were like, hey, is there somewhere where we could stay or this or that? And so Trey would write them. And we all got together, like me and Javier and a couple other people, we got together and said, hey, let's get a house.
Nice.
And every band that comes through,
Yep,
they can stay with us, and you have kind of like two options. We'll make spaghetti, and you can wash clothes. We had a washer and dryer.
Dude, laundry's the one, bro. Yes, sir.
And we can watch La Bamba and make a big pallet, fort, pillow, everything, and just, you know, we're all young and watch movies. Or
right.
we can make spaghetti and buy a bunch of drugs and alcohol. And so everybody stayed at our house. So Austin, when you got to Austin, you stayed at the Crumbum house. And
that's awesome.
I became really good friends with like Jake and Meggers and Rick. And eventually throughout time, like me and Meggers I knew his mom, and we were like calling each other on like holidays, and we became very, very close. And the Casualties took the Crumbums everywhere. Like we were their like tour band. We went to Europe with them. We went all over the United States, into Canada. The Casualties took Crumbums everywhere. And so we became friends. But I never, ever sang a song with them. Jorge just wasn't like that. He didn't share the mic. Not saying he was a mic hog or anything, but he just, that wasn't the way we worked.
No, not everybody does the same things, dude. No explanation necessary.
Exactly. And but we just became friends. And then about 10 years ago, Meggers was like, I'm tired of living in New York. And I had an extra bedroom at my house. So Meggers moved in here, and he was gone all the time on tour. And so later on, when Jake had his conversation with Jorge and they split ways, Meggers wrote me and was like, hey, motherfucker, you better learn these songs. And I was like, what?
Dude.
We never, ever, 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 ever in our life ever talked about me singing, filling in, or anything. But he knew that I was real serious with like what I call my profession.
It is your profession.
And he knew that I could do it. And it wasn't even like, hey, let's do this forever. It was like, can you fill in at Fuck You, We Rule in Oklahoma? And I did. And I had like 2-3 days of practice.
Dude.
I wrote all the lyrics on the back of like 18 packs.
That's awesome.
I had these two girls in front. They were so cool. I was like, hey, I bought them a bunch of beer. I said, after each song, rip this off and into the next song.
That's amazing.
And that's what we did. And anyways, that's how I joined the band.
Dude, what was that? Sorry, I got a urgent message. So what was that feeling like when you saw that message? I mean, did you kind of like blink and rub your eyes a little bit like, what? Because that would have blown my mind.
I don't know that I was really into doing it.
Okay.
Not because like, oh, I can't. I'd come out of Crumbums. kind of broke in. Like we were young and we all grew up together. And as anybody knows, you will like
Oh yeah.
bust heads. And we had like kind of a rough breakup. And I didn't really want to play music anymore.
Okay.
I've always been like a cook also. I love cooking. And I was like, I don't want this drama in my life anymore. I think I'm just going to cook. And Josh and Zach Volta and Kevin kind of manipulated me into like, let's start a band. And we started Starving Wolves. And I loved it. And it's such a heart thing for me. And I never even, like I said, I never once before that day did Meggers ever ask me or say anything, or Jake ever say, hey, what do you think about Casualties? We never, ever spoke about it, ever.
I like that. I think that's super, like, it. I feel like that means something to me. Hearing that just tells me that, like, I don't really like the word coincidence. I think things happen for a reason most of the time. Now you might set yourself up for something to happen, but things generally happen for a reason, right? And I think
Yeah.
that tells me a lot, that it just kind of was a thing where when the time came, that was the obvious choice. Because I'll tell you what, when I first saw it, my very first thought was, well, shit, man, if anybody can do those songs like live, I was like, it's David. And I was like, I want to hear that. I was like, I got to hear this. Like, I was completely stoked about it. It wasn't like I mean, look, I don't think of the other people's business, you know what I'm saying? So I was just excited for you. Honestly, kind of excited for Texas, really, because it's a big representation.
It was a big Texas thing. Wait, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
In your editing, can you pause?
Yeah.
I've been working on my fence and at practice all day. I drink about 10 waters and a tea.
Oh no!
Can I
Hit
take
the head, brother. Yeah, hit the head, brother.
Ah!
I don't know why it didn't dawn on me until just now, but back in like 2008, maybe, I used to hang out with Javier all the time because I used to work at Red 7, and I was up there starting trouble all the time with this dude named Justin. They called him Ribs. You ever met that fool?
Yeah, I know Ribs. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he was my roommate. We used to live together in Austin, and I was like, when you walked away, it just kind of clicked, and I was like, wait a minute. And I literally looked up a picture of the band, and I was like, I knew who he was talking about. But yeah, we used to run around, just kind of hang out, nothing crazy, drink a little bit, have a little fun. Got into a couple of fights together. But he was always fun to hang out with. Yeah, my kid's actually named after Ribs. My kid's name is Bricken, and that's Justin's middle name.
Oh, cool. Great.
Yes, that's the long story, man. That's my old road dog, man. I miss that guy. I haven't seen him in a long time. So
yeah, so in the Casualties thing, it was very it took a few years to understand. I think for all of us, they dealt with a lot of like PTSD bullshit from Jorge, and man, it gave myself an opportunity to write differently. And maybe I'm going out on a limb saying this, but it gave those dudes an opportunity to kind of laugh and have fun. And I have to tell you, the number one, the greatest compliment I ever got was a few of their friends, like from Europe, that knew them for years and years. And if you know Europeans, they are very blunt and upfront, and it's hard for Americans to understand. But they said, "I never seen the guys smile on stage,
bro." That is a good.
And it was like we have so much fucking fun, and we have a really good genuine way of writing together, and a genuine way of respecting each other's thoughts. And so
Right.
for me, it's like I'm always gonna write how I feel, but when their vibe comes on, it's genuine and it comes through all together. So I'm very lucky, and I'm very proud to be in the Casualties, but also to be. I don't think like I'm in the Casualties. I'm with them. So
Yeah.
I've got like blood that runs through my veins that goes with Jake, and it goes with Meggers, and it's just so strong, and it's really cool. We've been writing all week, and
Nice.
it's a very nice thing, and we've got a new guy in the band, Doug from a Whole Hog, and we just have a very cool special thing.
That's that band that Matthew's in, right?
Yep, Matt's in Whole
Yeah.
Hog.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, I felt a sense of pride, and
Oh
this
yeah,
is
that's what we were talking about. Texas.
yeah. Well, this is the first time that we've actually like talked outside of like in passing at shows over the years. But I mean, I couldn't even recall one thing that we said to each other. I know we've talked, but I don't know about what. So this is the first time we've ever really sat down and talked, and I definitely felt pride being like, dude, that's like one of our guys. Like it was so crazy to me, man. It's like whenever you see, Gabe Wells. He was in a band called Pride Kills, a hardcore band out of Houston. But well, I knew him when me and John and all, we all lived in the same block, and we all grew up together. And I remember when his band got signed to Thorpe Records, and they were like one of the first big Houston bands to get signed to a label that was going to actually get them some distribution. And it was the same kind of feeling. I was like, man, dude, that's like our dudes. Like, I just find it. I don't know, man. I always found it kind of impossible to believe that we could make it outside of Texas because it's such a freaking big place. That when somebody does make it past that threshold, it's really nice for the people that are around them, that support them, and that love and care about them.
For me too, it was like I have to do this and carry the torch for Texas, because I mean, it is true. When you're from Texas, you're just a Texas boy,
dude. It's weird, isn't it?
A Texas day, a Texas dad. But we love fighting because we had to fight so fucking hard. And so, like, for me, it's like David Tejas. I am fucking a Texas dude, man. That's what it was. And it was a responsibility. Maybe some people don't get it and some people don't care. But for me, it was a responsibility. I was like, this is us, dude. Where else can all of my friends from all over the world feel comfortable? And they love coming to Texas now. You look at it from a distance and you're like, oh man, it's full of shit and it sucks. But anyways.
Dude, I always get positive I don't know, feedback from Texas. Especially doing this channel now. I've been meeting a lot of bands because I'll find out somebody that's coming through, and then I'll email them, hey, I saw you're coming through Texas. I run a channel and I'm based out of Houston. Any chance we could talk? And I've made a bunch of friends over the past year like that, right? And every time I'm like, so how was Texas? Just, checking. I mean, how y'all do? Y'all get home safe and this and that. Every time they're like, dude, freaking Texas rules. And if you're outside of Texas and you've never been here, you're going to have this weird idea of what we are and who we are. And I'm telling people, dude, it's just not that way. We're not a big, I mean, we may be a red state by default, I guess, but it's not that way. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. We're so much more open-minded and friendly than people would assume,
Of course, dude. It's nothing like anyone thinks.
So how long has Starving Wolves been a band? How long have you been doing that?
Man, it's wild to think, but I mean, I think we're going on like 9 years.
Okay, so I didn't know that band existed. And so I guess, man, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, y'all opened up for the Interrupters and Rancid. And it was at that I guess it's like a racetrack or something.
Dude, that was like 6 or 7 years ago.
Was it really? Man.
Think about
Well,
it.
I guess that was like pre-COVID shit, huh?
Yeah, it was 3 years ago, and it was probably 3 years before that.
Damn, bro. Man, time flies by, man. It just zips on right past. And I remember
COVID fucked everybody up.
Bro, it fucked everything up.
3 years.
So my wife is just a normie, man. I met her at HEB, and you know, we were, you know what I'm saying, bro. Even our grocery store, dude, even our grocery stores rule down here. But I met her at that store. We became friends, and then, you know, a couple years later, we ended up like hanging out and dating, and then, you know, now we're married. Been married for almost a decade, but she never really listened to much punk music outside of like whatever I was listening to in the car. And so I let her hear Rancid and stuff. I'm trying to like give her some entry level punk rock, and she's interested in it. She likes it. And then one day the Interrupters song comes on that T-Mobile commercial, and I was telling her, I was like, man, this sounds like something I would listen to. I was like, I never heard this before. I didn't know who they were. I was kind of out of touch at that point. I was trying to get sober and just trying to clean my life up. And I find out who it is. Oh, dude, do what?
I said, good job. Good for you. Me too.
Oh, bro. Yeah, dude. 10 years clean, man. I'm killing it, dude. July will be 11. Yeah. I don't even, bro. I'm the designated driver now, man. When I went and hung out with Chris and them on New Year's Eve, yeah, I was like, bro, I'll drive y'all around. Let's go. But I found out that it was a band called the Interrupters, and they were on Hellcat. And it kind of blew my mind. And so then my wife, being the sweetheart that she is, she's like, hey, Rancid's coming to Texas. They're not coming to Houston, but they're playing Austin, and that's where she's from. So she's like, you want to go see my parents and then like go see the show? There's like this like beer tasting thing, and I was like, yeah, I'll drive. You can sit in the car and you know, go have some drinks, whatever. I'll drive us. Yeah. So we go up there, but I remember we're walking around, and you guys were playing like first or whatever. I think it was first. It might have been second. I don't remember, but it was early on in the evening. But I remember walking around, and I was like, hey, I want to go check out this opening band. I like the name. I was like, that name is badass, but I didn't know who was in the band. And I'm standing kind of far back, and then I see you walk out on stage, and I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, hey, I think I know that guy. And she's like, who? I'm like, the singer. And I was like, shit, I got to run up there. So we run up there. I was like, oh, my God, it's David from Crumbums. And so I was instantly a fan of Starving Wolves, and I thought it was cool when I would see things pop up that you were still doing music. I was always really happy, man. Like no bullshit like fanboy, and dude, I really like the music, and I like your vocal style a lot. So
I also wanted to talk on that because you said that a couple times, but you know what? There's something rad about supporting each other, and
right,
feeling it, and that's why I wrote you directly back. I want to support what you're doing, and it's about when we take our ego out and we care about what the other person is doing, man, we feel fulfillment. We feel something, and so I think that's the way you and I feel about what each other is doing, and that's cool,
right?
And it feels really nice, and there's no ego. It's like, fuck yeah, I want to support this dude. You know, and I appreciate that.
Well, I've had a few people reach out and say that they like what I'm doing, and I'll tell you what, man, that might be the biggest surprise that's happened to me is that, because I wasn't expecting things like that to happen. I was just expecting, you know, minimal growth. If I kept it up, maybe something would happen. And then I had people say like, oh no, I think that what you're doing, you know, needs to be done, or whatever the thing was that was said. And man, it's the most insane feeling knowing that that it's something that people appreciate, because I don't know, I don't see a lot of channels that are doing this. There's a few, but not only down here in Texas for sure, but it's I think it's something that's needed, man. I try to be objective and kind. I don't like to just outright shit on something unless I have to. Like, there, you know, I'm not gonna pander to anybody, but like, man, I really do try to come with, I'll use, I hate to do this, but Strung Out as an example. They had a couple of new songs that came out, and I wasn't a big fan of the first one. But like, if you watch the whole video, at the end of the video, I had like 3 or 4 things that I was pulling out of it that were positive. And so, I don't know, I feel like that stuff's necessary, man. If you want to find a person that's going to like everything they listen to, there's plenty of channels on the internet for that. But this is a place where I like to review things, and it's just my perspective. It's not necessarily right or wrong or law. It's just my perspective. Hopefully people can find out that, oh, I have a lot in common with this guy and we like a lot of the same stuff. Therefore I can trust his, review of said album. That's kind of what that was in the history of reviewing movies, music, books. You find a person you identify with, and then you like, oh, I can trust this dude's opinion.
I think we find better, the more we do it, we find better words to express what we're saying sometimes.
Right.
And I'll even tell you, my guitar player was like, oh, dude, he said our song was generic. And in the review of Oscar, and I said, well, no, I said, I think so. And then we can maybe go into like some Starving Wolves stuff. But there's what you call a formula, right?
That's what I was saying. I was using it as a descriptive word more so than like a. It wasn't like a. Yeah, if you take that word out of context and you say, "Oh, I called it generic," that sounds really shitty. But if you say there's a generic formula for punk rock and that's necessary, needed, and wanted, and this fills that void, and I like it, then it sounds a lot more respectful. And I feel like that had to be what I was saying.
You call someone thick?
Do what?
I said, sir, does it sound nice when you call someone thick? No, I didn't say you were fat. I said you were thick, big boned.
Well, it is hard to do this and to be honest, because I feel like it would be.
I understood exactly what you said, but Josh was like, he said to me, it's like it was a great interview, and then he said we were generic. I said, no, I said I think what he meant was that there is a formula, and you can say this to any band, and any band who gets offended by this, I'm sorry, you've done it a million times. Here's the formula: intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro.
Yep. Right. Well,
because
so
every song can't be this wild thing where you go like, okay, I'm gonna do a verse, bridge, weird bridge, back into intro, chorus, bridge, new part.
Right.
That's the term of generic, and I get it. And you can look at, and I think about these things. I lay in bed. I'm a weirdo. I lay in bed and I go, oh God, how do I make a song newer? How do I do my lyrics newer?
Right.
And I know all the guys in Wolves and Casualties, we think about this. How do we not make a song generic? Okay, well, I'm sorry. Every fucking Willie Nelson song that you love is verse, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. Black Flag, the Circle Jerks.
I mean, all of them. So, well, I mean, how does it get to be? How does that term even come into existence? Right? Like, if something is generic, at least in the context that we're speaking, music, right? Then that means that it fit a formula that very clearly worked over and over and over and over, or it wouldn't have gotten to become that. People just associate that word with negativity so much because it's been used in a negative way. I would say probably more than it ever should have been, because I think a lot of words.
You wiggled your way out of this one pretty good.
Okay, so full disclosure, when you said that you watched the review of the song, I got all excited, and then I was like, man, I'm gonna go rewatch it and just I don't usually rewatch my videos. I film them, I edit them, I throw them up there, and that they're in the wind.
Yeah.
And I watched it, dude. In all sincerity, I was like, ooh, I hope they understood what I meant there. I legitimately thought that, and I was like, man, sometimes I'm too honest with shit, and I'm like, I don't mean to be like shitty. I don't know. I wouldn't like. hey, you got to face the music though. If I say something like that on a video, I have to be willing to explain it. You know,
goes, dude, I even put this weird instrument at the beginning, and I've still got generic.
Wow. Fuck, bro, you're killing me, man. You're
Wow.
killing me. You're killing me, dude. Hey, in all fairness, bro, I couldn't write a song that good if my life depended on it. So, I mean, who's sitting over here doing the interviews and who's writing the music, you know?
So a flip-flop, I'll tell you, I'll send you the first record. I don't know if you have True Fire or not. That's the Starving Wolves' first record.
Let me look at it. I can tell you about the cover.
Well, I would like to know if you knew the songs or not. So
no, I know.
You don't. So,
bro, I have the absolute worst fucking memory of all time. So
you couldn't have a worse memory than me. But what I'll tell you is like what we kind of stumbled on in a conversation is a little bit of clarity, a little bit of sobriety, a little bit of guilt, a little bit of self-hatred. And that's how Starving Wolves started.
Okay.
And that record is a lot about self-hatred. It's a lot about, as you know, and some people may know, when you lay the bottle down, you wonder, what am I ever going to be happy again? Am I ever going to enjoy life again? And then you remember all the days of sweating, waking up, and immediately chugging an entire bottle of whiskey and blacking out for months at a time. And that record engulfed the pain of going through sobriety.
I mean, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to do. It's scary. It takes a lot of courage. I mean, the catalyst.
I'm a low bottom drunk.
Oh, bro, I skipped right over the alcohol. I drank a lot, but that wasn't my issue, man. My issue was like real hard, heavy drugs. And like, you know, the catalyst to me getting my life together was my wife here who's walking by, and then my kid, of course. When I had my oldest kid, I'm like literally in the hospital, high, like not just buzzing, bro. I was out of there, man. And I'm holding this baby, and I'm like, oh my goodness, boy, do I gotta straighten up, man. I can't do this with this person dependent on me. You know, I mean, it took a long time though. It's not something you can usually do by yourself either. You have to have the courage to ask somebody for help. And if you're too embarrassed, you gotta let that shit go, man. You have to just be ready to make some changes and start working on it. Because every day that you improve even this much is, in my opinion, a net positive. You can improve just a millimeter, and that's a net positive. If you know, and it's never going to be perfect. I mean, I still have days where I still think about drugs occasionally, man. I don't even know why. Like I'll have a day where my back hurts, and I'm like, man, I'd love to have some of this or that. I'm like, ooh, that's terrible. I don't need that shit in my life.
I dream of it sometimes, and that's what, like when we get into the new record of Starving Wolves and kind of what we wanted to talk about. But how lucky are we to bullshit for an hour? And I hope that people that dig what both of us do, they enjoy that company. But this next record is about the struggle of once you get through something, how do you continue to fight? And you know, this do you have the record yet?
I do not.
I'm gonna get one, and I'm gonna show you the cover real quick.
Okay.
So this is
okay. Yeah, that's what I thought the cover was. That's beautiful artwork, by the way. Who did that?
my friend Jordan Barlow. He is not only an amazing artist, but almost an alchemist. And this record is kind of a story behind like alchemy. So it's like you see this king here and the look on his face.
Talking about the one in the very center of the LP and inside the
Yeah.
wolf's mouth, basically?
Yes.
Yes.
So behind him is like the church, like up here in a city in complete rubble, and the wolf has to devour him. And once
That's fucking hard.
the wolf devours him, you see behind him is the gold flame.
Yes.
That's when you become gold. Once you're devoured by your wolf, the pain and everything, your ego, once you get fucking devoured, that's when you're able to possibly make gold in your life. And that's kind of what this record is about. And it's called The Fire, the Wolf, and the Fang. And it's a story about that cover.
Okay, dude, that's actually, I like to know stuff like that because it's not oftentimes that you get an album of some kind and get some of the I don't know, backstory of what it's about, because I feel like I pre-ordered that from somewhere, but maybe I didn't. Is it already out? I really didn't realize it was already out. All
it doesn't come out until May 3rd. But
okay,
again, I could not be happier with this, and my friend Jordan just did like
that's freaking amazing cover. Like that's really, really well done. Like that's, I mean,
it actually is, and it's not like because it's my record. It's because Jordan believes in what he does, and he's an incredible artist. And the story that I read something by him, and it was an old story, and I really loved it. And I started talking about what I was writing, and he said, "Well, let's do this." And it's just so fucking cool. And so yeah, I want to talk about the new record.
Whenever I get one in my hands, I'll probably do like an up close. I need to start doing it more often, but I used to do shorts where I would go through and show somebody the artwork of an album with a song playing in the background and just kind of break it down, the LP and what it was, and show people the inside of it, just as like I don't know, I just like showing people cool records and stuff. But
well, and part of like with me, I grew up with great art in music, and so it is as important that the art be represented as well as the music.
Oh, for sure. And I think with cover art, especially in, I would say most guitar driven music, it doesn't just punk rock, but like any kind of metal and hard rock stuff. Cover art is going to say a lot about what is in between that cardboard. And if I'm flipping through records at a record store, if I saw that record there, I would be pretty confident that I knew what I was getting when purchasing it. And if you can look at the cover art and then you flip on the back and you look at the song titles, that's one of the good things about record labels. You can, from just a few different things on a record, you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to get. And because I always hated it when I bought a record and I got something that was nothing like I thought I was going to get based on the artwork. It drove me nuts. And I think that you guys nailed it with that. And what was there a conscious decision to make it black and white with just the highlighted gold, or was it ever talked about going full color?
This is about so I'm kind of a novice in this, but like I said, with alchemy, there was this idea way, hundreds of years ago that you can melt down any kind of metal and find gold, right? However, that's where you get these alchemic symbols and all this. But it's not, you can't do that. And that's kind
Right.
of some magic was from alchemy. And then it turned into this almost like this belief system. If I do the right thing, I can become gold. I can be good, right?
Okay.
You know, the golden fucking rule. And so that's why it's in gold. Because, like I said, the king must be devoured by the wolf, and then the fire of gold will come through him. And
Dude,
so,
I can't wait to get a hold of this record, man. You got me like super psyched.
yeah, I mean, but that's the idea. That's why it's black and white and gold.
Dude.
And I'm so happy with the way I was afraid that it was gonna come out in this cheesy gold.
No, it's a really nice, because it's not like does it have any shine to it, or is it like a golden color only?
It's got like a light shine, but
it looks good.
I told him I wanted, all I could think of, I said, you know that gold that's in Goldschlager? Because we're alcoholics. I was like,
bro,
and make it look like that. But I wanted it to be very dark. I want you to think about it.
Well, it's like gold as an element, not as a decoration, is what you went with, and I like that a lot. And I assume it has lyrics in there on a page, or no?
Oh dear God, yes.
I can't wait, dude. That's one of the things that I think other genres of music and other whatever, man, just people, I think they would benefit a lot from putting the meaning of their art with their art. And so when you get it, I mean, can you imagine how awesome it would be to have like I don't know, let's just say a rapper like I'm from Houston, so that Mexican OT right now, he's like really big right now. But if I got his new album and it came with a lyric book and I could read everything he was saying, and like maybe I won't relate to all of it, but I guarantee you there's gonna be some stuff in there I wouldn't even have realized he was saying had I not read it along with it. I truly enjoy reading lyrics with stuff, and reviewing albums makes it so much more enjoyable for me when I can listen to the song and read the lyrics with it. The way I approach that is I usually want to hear it 4 times before I'll even review it. I want to hear it once, just how I heard it when I heard it the first time. Then I want to sit with it and read the lyrics once. And then I want to hear it on my phone with my headphones and in my car really loud. If I can do all 4 of those, I can get a good idea how it's going to sound on different speakers. And then I can also get what I'm supposed to get out of the lyrics, hopefully, like that. And I usually feel like I did.
I'm excited for you because you are, as like I said, like I'm a novice in things. You are a novice in Starving Wolves, which is,
I would say so.
Which is like a beautiful thing for me, because I could not be more proud of every member of the band and the hard work that they did. I am, and I'm not saying this because, oh, tell me good. I am the lowest level of this band, and I'm extremely beyond lucky to play with these guys, and we made something that we're very proud of, and
that's the key right there.
We got to record this with Bill Stevenson from Descendants and Black Flag.
Whoa!
And he went out of his way. He did all of the drums, all of the vocals, all of the pre-production, and we went up to the blasting room and we stayed there for 2 weeks. And
wow,
we went into another world, and we were extremely lucky to do that.
Dude, I just took my wife to go see, or she took me, I guess, it was for my birthday gift, to go see Circle Jerks and Descendants and Adolescents. And not to go off on a different subject, but I really enjoyed watching him play drums. He has this, like, I don't know, man, the way he sits up and he looks like he's in his own universe, man. And
is.
Dude, it was badass. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude a minute ago. I was listening to what you were saying. I wanted to see. I was pretty sure I had one of your 7 inches, and I did. So I do have something of y'all's.
One, and I think what is the other song on that?
Fuck the people.
And so here's something interesting. Brad Logan, who plays bass in Adolescence Now, sings on that.
Dude, no shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, he sure as shit does. Brad is becoming a friend of mine too. That guy's awesome, man. He was really, really nice, and he's gonna come back on. He did an episode with me, and he's gonna come back on after the tour's over at the end of April, and just chat a little bit, man. He's a super, super sweet guy. He told me once. He said, "Hey man, send me some music if you think of something I might dig." And I get told that all the time, and sometimes I'll send stuff, but I never hear a response. Like I never even get like oh cool, check it out. It's just usually like nothing, right? And so I tend to not like to do that, but I felt like if I sent him something, he might actually listen to it. And so I sent him a couple of things, and he was like, "Oh hell yeah, I'll listen to it tonight." And then a couple of days later, he's like, "Hey, I really like that." And so I sent him more, and it was just, I don't know, it made me feel really good because, like, you know, it's nice to hear that and then actually get to have a conversation about music, because I often don't find myself knowing of bands that specifically musicians haven't already heard of. So
he's just a good dude. He's a good dude.
He's really nice, man. I really like Brad Logan, dude. Shout out to Brad Logan.
You know, it's a small world, and I'm very lucky. We're talking about the big tour you got to see. Brad Logan's on this. We've been very lucky, and you know, this record is just something we're proud about. So for you on your podcast, you tell me what you want to talk about of some of the new Starving Wolf stuff.
Well, so first off, is you said it comes out in May, right?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. So that's not very far from here.
Tour with the Rum Kicks from Korea.
Nice, dude. I know that band. They're really good. So how many tracks are on this particular album?
Well, let me see. 11.
Okay, I thought it was 11, but I wasn't sure. I've looked at the cover art quite a bit. I feel like I might have some pre-ordered because, like, I don't know if I told you, but I have a small record store, so I try to keep up on new stuff coming out and order a couple of copies so I can have some represented in my shop as well. We're predominantly punk music in my store. It's a really small place, so I try really hard to keep up with that. It's almost impossible, to be honest, but it is a lot of fun. So do you have a particular song that you want to? Well, is it okay? I feel like I'm saying it wrong. You said ossuaries?
Ossuaries.
Ossuaries. I want to say it wrong forever, by the way. So ossuaries. Okay, ossuaries. That's the lead single. Do you have another song that is like in the batter's box right now, getting ready to drop, or something that you want to push or something like that?
I will tell you, that's not the lead single. We have two singles before that.
No shit.
I sent you the goddamn lyrics.
Okay, I have the lyrics, but I didn't realize what came out before that, man. I'm sorry. Fuck.
So the first song that came out is really, really pretty heavy to us. It's called Please Listen. And it's called Please Listen, I Feel You, I Feel Me. And it's heavily about suicide. And
I have heard that song actually. It just came out a little while ago. It came out last year. I didn't realize that.
Yep. And it's about you know, when you feel that pain from both sides. I know. And then the other one is you know, one lyric says, I fucking love you so much. You know, when you just tell somebody, I love you and I don't want to see you go. What the fuck can I do? How much more can I give? And so it's a song about that. And then the second single is called Mixed Blood, which is a very Texas kind of half English, half Spanish song. You know, my mom's white, my dad's Mexican. From, you know, my family's from his family's from Mexico, and it's like growing up back in the 80s, I used to get called a half breed, and you it's about not feeling connected here or there, but it's all of it's got a lot of heart, and we fucking care about it.
Well, I have heard the Please Listen. I have actually heard that song. I didn't realize that was off this album. That one came out 6 months ago almost.
Yeah.
But the other song I haven't heard. So I'll have to give that a listen. I might do a little double video and review those songs on the channel too, just because I like to get.
When this comes out, do me a double review of those two songs.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely do that, and I'm definitely gonna do an entire review of the record when it comes out. I might even do like a listen through on a Sunday night. I do live streams on Sundays, and we try to bring new music to the table, and I'm learning as much as anybody else. Fuck yeah, dude! I'll do that for sure. Then yeah, it's coming. May 3rd is probably like a Friday, so May 5th will be a Sunday. Yeah, that's something that's easily done.
I'll be home May 5th.
Okay. That's the day before my kiddos' birthdays. That'll be really easy to remember. Actually, you know what? Just to not be a dickhead about it, I'm going to put a reminder on my calendar right now because my bitch ass will forget.
But
Let's see.
I'm really excited. I'm very proud to be on Pirates Press Records.
Hell yeah.
I'm really proud of this new record. And I will tell you this. I would love for you to listen to this the way that you listen to Ossuaries. This record, I want you to do a full video listen. I'm going to promise you one thing. This record will not be at all what you expect.
Dude, challenge accepted, brother. I can guarantee you I'll do it, but I'm excited to hear it just based on that.
Say we went out of our comfort zone.
Okay.
Extremely out. There's a song, the first song on side 2. It's called Alec's Song. And our good friend Alec died. He was a player from Leftover Crack.
That Alec. I know who that is. And I don't know that person personally, but I know who it is.
And it's a story that needs to be told. And it's pretty heavy. There's a song called Nothing More, that the first song on the record, completely out of our element. And we ended with a song called Wildfire that I never put my voice to that point.
Okay.
And, we really wanted to, really what I wanted to do with this record is make an audio movie.
Ooh, I like it, bro.
I want you to see, when you see a movie, it starts off with some action, right?
Right.
It's going to grab me. And then there's the plot that happens. And then there's the problem. And at the end, we either find resolution or we leave a gateway for part 2.
I like it. I like you know who else did something like that recently is Spirit World. You ever heard of them?
No, I'll check them out.
Yeah, they're like a so Stu, who sings for Spirit World, also used to sing in a band called Folsom. They're from Las Vegas. And they played at Red 7 a bunch way back in the day. But he has a new band called Spirit World, and they sound kind of like you know that band Integrity?
Yeah, of course.
So they sound kind of like Integrity, a little bit more. But they have this album, I think it's called Death Western.
Okay.
And it's the same kind of thing. It tells a story throughout the whole album. But he had he put a lot of visual artwork into the storytelling. So whenever they have the album come out, I think there's 3 or 4 songs that have these videos with them. And it tells a story. It's really interesting. But as you were talking, I literally was like, man, this parallels what Spirit World did. Now sonically it's going to sound different, but it feels to me like it got me way more excited than I already was. I mean, anytime that you drop, specifically you, David, drop a project, I'm going to be interested in listening to it. But I'm quite a bit more excited now than I was 2 hours ago, which I find interesting because I'm usually pretty excited anyways. I'm a pretty upbeat, excited dude, but I'm very pumped.
I have to tell you, you know what's wild? I've not listened to the record by myself all the way through. I played a couple of songs, but I really worked with these dudes so fucking hard that it's I'm almost scared.
Ooh, that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing.
I got so much great. Actually, I'm gonna open up some of this and show you.
Let's go.
I got so much knowledge working with Bill Stevenson, and
dude, I'm pretty envious of that. That's rad, dude.
The way that we did the vocals, and I'm telling you, he doesn't let shit slide. And
I can't imagine that he would, based on what I know about the guy.
It was pretty heavy. Okay, so, but I had such a great experience, and I have so much respect for my band that it's kind of out of this world for me. So this comes with it.
Is that a 12 by 12? Like a one sheet?
Yep. I love the artwork so much. And my friend Alex Hagen, he kind of did the layout, and he said, man, the artwork's so cool. What if we did something so if anybody ever wanted to color it or paint it or frame it?
Oh, dude, I was thinking frame it.
Yeah, of course. That's what I was thinking. He's like, dude, people want to do all kinds of shit. And then we have, like, my friend Dave Creaney did this photo. I mean, who gives a fuck about that? But
no, that's awesome. Where was the photo taken, though? Was it in town?
Yeah, it was in Austin. He found this little wild, like, I don't know, gutter type thing, and we took this picture. And then all the lyrics.
Hell yeah. That's the jacket that the record goes in?
Yep. And let's see. Check this.
Or the sleeve, whatever the appropriate term is.
Come on. It's vacuumed in there.
Ooh.
And
hell yeah. That's pretty.
Traces of gold all in it.
Oh, damn. It does. That's pretty, man. I like that. They can do some amazing stuff when they're making records these days. That's really pretty.
Yep. And it is, and like I said, I'm super proud to be in this band. I'm super proud of the record label. I'm super proud to be talking to you about it. And I hope that this record reaches a ton of people.
Dude, I'll do my part, man. I'm very grateful for your time. That one sheet that has the cover art on it is the back of it just blank?
Blank.
Dude, that's perfect because like I often want to put my records on the wall because the artwork is really great, but I don't have a choice to because now the record's on the wall. But with that, I can just put that on the wall, and I think I've got like little spaces for like smaller artwork. That's 12 by 12 is pretty perfect for sliding in.
That's why we did it, because when you put the art and then the other side is the lyrics, okay,
right?
No longer read lyrics. And that was something that we thought was really cool with Pirates Press. They were like, yeah, let's do it.
They're really like I'm exploring doing some vinyl with my label right now, and I've been told I've talked to a few people, but when I started talking to Pirates Press as far as like the record production place, they were incredibly easy to work with and willing to do about anything. Now, everything comes at a cost, of course, but like a lot of places are like, oh no, we won't do this, and no, we can't do that, and it's like they're like, no, whatever you can dream up, we can do it. Find out what's your budget, and then give me the budget, give me the ideas, and I'll tell you how we can work it out, and we'll go from there. And I was like, well, shit, that's really easy. Like that's That's
Yeah.
exactly what I want to hear. I'm tired of hearing like, oh no, we don't like this, because like people like you and I, we dream big, man. And I have these like ideas in my head of things that I want to do. Right now, I'm celebrating the 20th year of the very first record I ever put out, and so I think we're going to put that out on vinyl this year. And you know,
Cool.
I want it to be special and look really cool. The cover art is you know, that it ain't as good as that shit you just showed me, but it's also hand drawn by a friend of mine. It's pretty badass, man. I don't know. I think the idea of putting care into a cover, be it hand drawn or a photograph or whatever, I think it's kind of like falling apart a little bit, man. People don't do the same things. Like, I mean, just look at all the classic albums. They all have something like pretty incredible as the cover. Even if it's simple, it's incredible. It's like something memorable. I mean, even as far as Minor Threat, Rancid literally did the same thing for Out Come the Wolves because it was so fucking just what's the word I'm looking for here? It meant so much. Iconic. Yeah, iconic. That's the word. Yes.
And so that was how I was raised, or how I grew up, and what I said. I'm gonna get one other thing real quick while we're talking.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
But it's like it has to be. It has to be. So I'm gonna show you this. This record had to convey what I was talking about. But this is the first record, and for me it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Could you possibly, like, I of course, you know, I'm biased, but
Right.
possibly put out a better fucking album cover for your first record?
That album cover is so striking. When you asked me if I had it, I was like, oh, I can go find out if I have it by looking at Discogs. So I didn't have it, but it's on my watch list. And I remember seeing that cover and thinking it was a really smart move to have that big, bold red background be solid. And then such a like a, I don't know what to call that wolf drawing, but it's like almost like tattoo style art, but it's very
like wood.
It's
almost.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. I think it's badass. I like anything that have to do with wolves. I'm pretty interested in.
Yeah, and the goddamn record's called True Fire. Holy shit! True Fire. The second record is The Fire, the Wolf, the Fang. I'm just gonna tell you, Starving Wolves. You know, what we want to do is make a fucking record that makes you fucking want to cry. That makes you, when you read the lyrics, go like, yeah, I lived that. I lived through that. I lived through that. Oh yeah, I died at that same point, and I came back up. And I'm struggling. And every day is a fucking fight. Every day is a battle to become a better me.
Facts, bro.
That's why I'm never gonna do something with this band that isn't 115, 20% on the cover. I'm never gonna have like, yeah, man, yeah.
Well, dude, even the 7-inch looks fucking amazing. Like, I mean, really though, like, it's your passion is very infectious, and it makes me want to get a copy of that as soon as possible and play it on my record player that is sitting right here.
But it's also, we're from fucking Texas.
Right. There's a little bit.
We get looked over. Oh, okay. Wait. I have to show you one little piece. Look at this. Like, it even. Oh, I don't think you can see it on here. It looks like it was burnt. There's
really?
Burn marks on it. Like, look. You see
I can see it on the outside of the jacket, at the bottom of it.
Yeah, right there.
Damn, that was by design, huh?
Yeah, and
that's freaking rad.
Turned out,
dude. But
that's the thing. Give it, and again, so you see the wolf head with arrows.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I recognize that kind of immediately. That it had the. What do the arrows signify? Anything in particular, or is that just something that you're going with as a motif?
Everything means something.
That's why I asked. I had a feeling you were going to say that.
So there's 6 arrows
Okay.
through the head. 5 arrows is the band, and the 6th arrow is the most important arrow. Us. You know what I mean?
Like the community?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant.
No, there's no anything without us.
Right.
So the 5 of us can be riding down the trail on these fucking horses, but we'll never get to where we're going if we don't have us. And that's the point. And the point of the first single, We Are One. We are one. And that's what this whole band is about.
That's awesome.
So there's a storyline to everything that we do. And it coincides. I'm like I said, I'm lucky enough to play with these dudes. I'm lucky enough that they let me write. And what I write about is this world, this community, from my point of view, being sick and getting better.
I think that we have there's a common thread through both of our lives, and I would think that that's probably alcoholism, as far as I can tell, anyways. Because you're talking in ways that I very, very much understand, as far as like getting better, and it doesn't always mean from that. It just means in general, like
But
you know,
we're lucky. We're very lucky, and that's why we say things like, "I'm a grateful alcoholic."
Right. Oh, dude, I'm so lucky, man. Like like the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you, it took 10 million things falling right in place for me to even get here, man. I mean, I was just bad off, man. I don't need no pity from anybody, but shit, man, it took a lot of work from other people to get me to where I'm at right now. It wasn't just a solo journey, man. I mean,
It very rarely is.
right. Well, a lot of folks don't understand that. Now, I think people that have never dealt with any kind of addiction issues or dealt with a lot of punk rockers are like broken people. They come from really dark pasts, really like shitty home lives. And I find that the people that don't understand any of that, it's because they've just never dealt with it. And I don't wish it on anybody necessarily, right? But sometimes I wish I could go, let me put you in my shoes for just a day. Let's say 2003. Let's drop you in the middle of that year for just a day, and you can see what I dealt with just on a daily basis. Again, no pity necessary, but maybe you'll understand it, and maybe you'll understand why I do the things that I do. I don't even know that that's necessary. I don't know that I give a shit if anybody understands me, really, but sometimes I do. I think we'd be lying if we said that whole like, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. We all say that shit, right? And to a degree, that's accurate. But I also would say that to a degree, that's just categorically false. Like if we didn't care what people thought about us, we wouldn't have the shirts on, we wouldn't have our hair up, we wouldn't have the tattoos, we wouldn't play in the bands, we wouldn't make the videos. If I didn't want some kind of attention, I wouldn't be doing this, right? So do I care if assholes hate me for no reason? No. But would I be really disappointed to find out that you thought that I sucked and my channel sucked and that like nothing I did was worth a shit? Yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed in that. I put a lot of work into this. So it's a weird thing, man. The community is, I'm talking in circles here, but the community is very important. And you know, the way you're talking about your records got me all kinds of worked up, man. Like it really does.
It's there's something when you can relate. There's a band. I don't know, were you ever into Dead to Me?
Oh fuck yes, dude. One Man Army is like my second favorite band by a very close thin margin, dude. Anything that Jack has ever had a part in, I really like it. Dead to Me was a good band, and they had a lot of problems when they first started going on.
So
or at least to my knowledge.
Listen to those lyrics.
Yeah, that's some heavy shit. Dead to Me is heavy. Especially the first record.
And it was, Cuban Ballerina. It
Yep.
was very straightforward. I'm an addict. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that.
Yeah.
And in my records, maybe I always wished I could write like Chicken and Jack, wrote the lyrics, and I'm such a fan of their way of writing lyrics in their very open way. I can't even explain the way that they write a song like talking to you. So
I mean, I know what you mean because I also love specifically Jack's lyrical, abilities.
yeah, Little Brother
that
was a great EP. But for me, I write kind of in a hidden way, and I think it reflects the way that I always hid in my addiction.
okay.
I'm gonna pretend like I'm not this. I'm gonna pretend like I'm not that.
I always wrote. I've only been in 2 bands that got enough together to where we could record anything, and both of those bands, I wrote my lyrics. I would say I was very straightforward with what I wrote because I don't really know any other way to be. And like even when I talk to my kids, I'm very, very straightforward, very honest about things. I don't really, I don't know. I don't see the point in bullshitting around. But yeah, dude, lyrical content is different for everybody, man. I think writing stuff is it's incredibly personal, but it's something you're gonna share with everybody. And I would assume you want a large portion of the people that hear it to identify with. So
Yeah,
yeah, man.
it's like for me, I've always been a fan of like this poetic way of saying things, and my dad was always both my parents are very dramatic in their in their speech, and my dad just was always very poetic in the way that he spoke and the way that he said things and the cliches that he said. And so I grew up with this real love for the art of words.
Oh, dude, I the art of words is something that, boy, I tell you, this is where we start to overlap a lot because I have a deep, deep love for good stories, good books, good music. My favorite band of all time is Rancid, and it's because the way that Tim and Lars will write a story out. They'll tell you a story, and it's timeless stuff. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. How No Effects. I love that band too. Like, don't get me wrong, No Effects is like a top tier band. But they write stuff that's got like a timestamp on it. Like they wrote a bunch of stuff about Bush and things like that. Where Rancid will write a song about a struggling mother, you know what I'm saying, that's having a hard time feeding her family. And that you can listen to that for 50 years and it'll always be good. So I understand wanting to write songs that are important and they touch people in a way that'll like, I imagine that you want people to sit on the floor with headphones and will listen to your whole record front to back, read all the lyrics, and then do it again. Like I feel like that's what you want just by talking to you this short amount of time tonight is that, it makes me excited to listen to the record because knowing that I know what kind of work you would have had to have put in to that record for you to even want somebody to do that, for you to ask somebody to do that. It takes a lot of work,
And it takes a lot of work. And I think people like us in this quote unquote recovery world, we battle with ego.
Oh, yes.
My ego wants you to love this record, love me, love this, but my soul honestly wants you to connect to this record. And I'll be honest, I went through a real dark hole writing this record, and it might have been the only thing that brought me out of it, and I hope, because I know this about me, and I'll bring a little of addiction into it. If you're active, you're a drunk, you're a drug user. That sounds like my mom or dad would say that. But if you're a partier, party, all you fucking want. I want you to.
Right.
You probably don't have the problem I have, but if you are like me, these lyrics almost didn't even come from my brain. They came from somewhere else.
Mm.
And they're about the struggle and they're about saying goodbye in a lot of pain, and it's also about saying please stay here with me. And man, I get emotional when I think about it, because between True Fire and the new record, I had so many friends die, and I had pieces of me die, and I had a lot of pieces of me grow. And so the thing that's amazing, let's talk about a band like Rancid, and I'll bring it in here. And this is a great conversation. I hope that people can follow this, but you have a band like Rancid that goes on and on and on and on, and you get to watch what happened from like Rancid into Let's Go, into Out Comes the Wolves, into where they are now. And so with Starving Wolves, I would love to tell the story. And like I said, I want this to paint a picture like a movie. The first record is like a preview, an introduction to who we are. And the second record is, dude, I can't wait for you.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
It's something, it's something that I'm like abnormally proud of. And as every band should be, but I want to put my money where my mouth is. And it's gonna be it's this way. You're either gonna completely love it or you're gonna hate it, and that's the way you kind of have to gamble once you get a little bit older. I don't want to put something out that's mediocre. I don't want to put something out because it needs to be put out. I don't want to write a song. I won't. I just can't write a song because I need to. Where Johnny was on the docks and Ginny was at home. I'm just not gonna write that song. I'm gonna write a song about my brother that died in a very sad, disgusting way. And I'm gonna let you know in a darker place what that meant to me. I'm not gonna tell you, oh, he died on the floor. I'm gonna write to you what it spiritually meant to me.
Dude, I think that first off, that's awesome and beautiful. And I sincerely cannot wait to sit down with this lyric sheet. When I was living in Austin, I'm not going to say names because I don't want to upset anybody, but I was living in a house. I don't even remember what part of town I was in. I had a condo, and the best song that I've ever written in my life, it was about a specific like hour of my life that I got a knock on the door. And like I said, I used to have a real bad drug problem. So my best friends were also junkies. And
of course,
I got a knock on the door, and it's my best friend. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And it's like pouring fucking rain, dude. You couldn't have made this shit up because it was so perfect to have a song come out of this. And he's standing on the patio and he's just crying, bro. And I'm like, what is happening? It's like 9 a.m. I'm like, starting to go through DTs. I need to get my meds. I'm like, yo, hey man, if you're gonna come inside, come inside. And so I'll go get a cigarette. We go out in the garage, and he's just crying, and he's talking about how he wants to get his life together, but his brother won't like help him. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why it was so important that his brother help him. And then it dawned on me that like that's the only person he's got outside of me, and I'm certainly no help. I'm a fucking enabler, if anything, at that point. And I wrote this song, man. I'll send you lyrics to it one of these days, and cool. I'll just get your opinion on it. It was It's heavy, man. It's a song. It's funny too because when the band I was in at the time, when we wrote the song, all of our songs had like a I guess like 77 style, like US bombs, but faster, maybe almost rancid-y sound to them. And then we had this one song that came out and it sounded almost like a Tragedy or From Ashes to Rise song. And so it didn't really fit anything else that we were doing, but it was so well written that I was like, oh, we have to have this song in our set. And so I have this like EP that we recorded. It's really bad quality, but you can hear it and it doesn't sound, it's so wild, but it's very clearly our best song, man. I'm still proud of that song. It was oof, man. Yeah, the very first part of the chorus goes, if nobody else cares, then why the fuck should I? I'm like, man, I hate that I had to write that, but it felt so perfect. Like it's so, I don't think people that aren't dealing with the stuff that we went through, they don't understand that shit. That sometimes you're like, dude, if nobody else gives a shit, like I have no reason to give a shit. But that's not really true. You're just talking to the wrong people. Like,
well, that's how we feel.
100%. That's such an accurate description of feelings when you're in that dark hole, in that dark place. Is like, man, you don't even realize that there's 10 people behind you that care because you're talking to the one asshole in front of you that doesn't. And you're like, oh, this guy doesn't care. And you're like, dude, just turn around, man. There are other people waiting, or other people that are looking for you.
And you know what? That asshole you're talking about is just the reflection of you.
I was gonna say probably need some help. So yes, you're correct. Dude, yeah, that's what it is. You're looking in a damn mirror.
And it's funny because when we're active in our depression, in our aggression, and our addiction, we go, this motherfucker. Actually, there are no motherfuckers because nobody cares about you as much as
right.
People care about you. You've created this demon of the world. And really, more people care about you than they don't. And again, that goes right into this song called Please Listen. And it's like, and it's a funny, I remember I sent that song to some friends of mine. They're like, this is funny. You sent me a song to listen to off your first record called Please Listen. And I'm going, it doesn't mean please listen to my song. I want my friends or whoever in the world, please listen. I fucking love you so much. I just hate to see you down. I want to be there for you. No more dead friends in the ground. You know, I feel your words so deeply. They shake me to the bone. Let's do this shit together because I can't fight this world alone. You know,
man.
Just, you know, and I wanted to write that song, and it's very sing-songy, like a little thing, but it's like, because I want to be, and this is one of the songs that's much more like I'm talking to you. But
yeah.
I've seen so many friends die that I just like.
It's the worst shit ever, dude.
I just want you, and the ending of the song says, I feel you, I feel me, I feel you, and I feel me. Meaning, you know, we all have this pain.
Dude, so many people need to hear that stuff. I find it very interesting that we'll be sitting in a wherever, man. You might be on a break at work, dude, and you're just sitting around and like you ever look around and like specifically, I did this the other day. I was at Alamo Draft House and I'm just like, I had like 6 or 7 regular customers. They were all really friendly with me, and I had a couple of my coworkers that I'm buddies with. But I'm standing around, I'm looking around, and I'm like, man, nobody else in here understands what's going on in my head. I don't know how you can be in a room full of people and still feel alone. It's very, for the lack of a better word, generic to say stuff like that. But that is so often how we feel. That I think making it audible is necessary. You have to tell people you're feeling like that, because if you don't, everybody's busy, man, and it's not on purpose. Nobody's ignoring you on purpose. At least I don't, in my experiences, not usually, you know.
I always say this: we all have a life, like
right.
Like if you were to get into my skin and into my head, along with your own world, yeah.
Oh. bro.
You'd probably kill yourself.
You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, we have to reach out and again, unfortunately, in this world, the most people that think they're have the least ego, they normally have the most. Why is this world against me? Why and the reality is, unfortunately, nobody's thinking about you. Nobody's
Right.
really mad at you. And the problem is you get looked over so much that one little negativity snaps in their brain. But what you have to do is go like, no, dude, the people that love you, they really love you. And
Right.
and we're not all gonna get this egotistical love that we think we're gonna have. Like, I'm gonna walk down the street and everybody's gonna know me. I'm David. Brr, brr, brr. But once you know what I mean, once you get this really rad feeling that I am one in a million, but we all serve our purpose.
Right.
You fucking feel good, dude. That's where I'm like, all of a sudden, like, I'm a weirdo. I start getting these highs in a different way. I wake up with my little dog. I make him breakfast. I go outside. I feel like I took a fucking whippet, like a life whippet. The sun's fucking blasting. I'm fucking alive. I have a fucking phone that I thought I could never afford. I have
Right.
a car and a bed to lay in.
Yep.
I'm a low bottom drunk with a low I never thought I could do this. Never thought that this could be a possibility. Do I have all the money I want? No. Because we want more.
Right. Yeah, naturally.
My mom's alive, my dad's alive, my brother is my best friend. I have a niece, a nephew, and a little dog, and a beautiful wife. I mean, what else do you want in the world?
Dude, well that okay, that's the key. Is that most people that I come into contact with, I'm very happy. I think we come from a different place. You and I have started way down here at the bottom, and we've worked ourselves up to a place where we feel pretty happy and pretty fortunate. A lot of people don't. They start up in the middle and they hover in the middle, or maybe they even digress a little bit. And they're like, oh man, my life is not good enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this or that. And it's like, man, none of that shit's going to make you very happy. I can't tell you, when you said that you get like a jolt sometimes, whenever I go outside on, like, let's say a Tuesday morning, I wake up tomorrow and I go outside and it's 78 degrees, a slight bit of breeze, sun shining. Bro, I don't need nothing else, man. I might just start walking, dude. I'll just go take a walk, man. I don't need nothing else.
I take the little dude for a walk.
Yep.
And then I come home.
It'll make you energized, man. It'll make your day better. And I'll go out there, listen to a little bit of music, listen to a podcast, come up with some ideas, start shooting some emails. By the time I look down, I'm like, dude, it's only 3:00. I'm already done with my shit for today. I'm gonna go back outside. It's interesting, man.
I've been doing that too. It's like I go, you know, like I said, my wife's in Brazil. I miss her, I love her. She's so cool and funny. But there's also this attachment that people have. I gotta have everything. Oh, I'm on one. No, it's rad. She's living her life. I'm home. I'm listening to a podcast about The Shining, about what it means. I'm a little bit scared. The wind is. I've got this little fat boy next to me, and life is good, dude. I'm playing music, and just to get back on this, I know you probably have to end it at some point. I'll talk all night, but I'm happy. Starving Wolves have a new record out. I'm
happy y'all have a new record coming out, man. Like, I'm excited.
I've been all week. Jake and Meggers have been here. We've been writing new songs for the new record. You'll be the first one. I can't tell you the secrets that are going on,
Okay.
But I'll tell you. I promise you. I'll tell you first. They're really cool, and they're even cooler because some of your favorite people are helping on this. And
Yeah.
I'm about to go on tour with Strung Out, Casualties. We come home 3 days later. I leave on tour with the Starving Wolves with the Rum Kicks. We end at Punk Rock Bowling. I come home for 10 days and then I leave June 10th until August 20th.
Oof.
In Europe, I'm playing Hellfest, every festival that you can think of in Europe with the Casualties. And I mean that with like a very low ego.
No, it's badass.
I'm lucky. I'm happy. Things are.
No, you just sound stoked, bro. Anybody that takes that as anything other than you're just stoked, they're not paying attention, and then their opinion's not worth anything.
I'm stoked, and I'm also stoked because I work with two different bands that give 110%, and we work all the artwork, all the shit. Like we're spray painting things, we're doing shit, and it's fun, and it means the fucking world to us. And we hope that everybody that supported us before can feel even more into what we're doing now. And that's wild, dude. That's wild. That we started. When did Crumbums start?
You said 99, 2000, 25 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Lucky
fucking dog, dude. I'm lucky.
Dude, I think it's badass. I think it's cool that after all these years, I'm able to talk to you on a podcast. I was thinking about that with Chris Klink not too long ago, how like Born to Lose was one of my favorite bands. And I just happened to link up with that guy. Like I'm the one that I put out his tapes for his new band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put these tapes out and I thought, dude, like if you had told me fucking 10 years ago, hey man, one of these days you're gonna work with Chris Klink, dude, you'll do some stuff with his band, I'd be like, sure. Like, how's that gonna happen? Because I had no, idea that I would ever do something like that. It's pretty intense, man. It's amazing. I feel like
you look like you're related to Chris Klink.
Dude, you know how many people have told me that, bro?
You want to know a cool story? I think we were in Zurich. We were in Switzerland, and we found out we were in Crumbums. Dude, this is 20 years ago. We found out Born to Lose was in town, and we were like, oh shit. So we like quietly snuck to the show, and we had like a couple of the people that work there take like, no joke, probably 30 shots, because also they do little shots.
Okay.
Don't do like us. They have those, the little thimble plastic.
Oh yeah.
And we filled them all up, and we went up to the stage. We were like, no, you got to take them all.
Oh.
We made Born to Lose take, dude, I'm not joking. They probably took 30 to 40 of those. Oh. Now keep in mind, there's 5 of them. So what? Yeah, they probably each took about 8 of those little shots, and we were so fucked up. and in Europe, they make you longer sets.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can get away with whatever you want. Like the Dwarves. If the Dwarves want to get up and play 8 songs, they'll play 8 songs and leave. I like to play 10 songs and get off.
Yeah.
In Europe, if you're the headlining band, you must play an hour. And so when they got done, and they're like falling over so drunk, and we kept going, one more song, and they had to play like 6 more songs, and they were
damn, that's brutal.
Because the whole crowd was like, yes, and we were like, yeah, get them going. And they're like, please, no more. I think we had like one of those shopping carts, and I think we put like Chris in the shopping cart, and we're like pushed him down this ramp into a wall.
Dude,
we had good times.
Can you imagine doing shit like that at this age?
No,
Dude,
not at all. Not at all.
I think of that and my body just starts to hurt and like my elbow will start like ringing in some pain. My back already phantom pains in my back. I'm like, oh no, I can't be doing no shopping cart hijinks right now. Not at 42, maybe at 22,
Yeah.
I was able to do that stuff. Yeah, dude,
Ask Chris about when Crumbums found them in Europe.
I'm gonna 1000% ask him about that, man. Fuck yeah, dude. I feel so happy to be able to talk to you guys, man. Like sincerely, dude. Like talking to you is so fucking awesome, man. I really I hope we are friends now and that we can do this again one day.
Of course, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a little something. I want you to do a video, and you can edit it, but videotape yourself listening. Do me this solid. Listen to the full record on video. The full record.
I'll do it on a live stream, dude. The whole thing.
And after this, we'll do we can do some fun stuff, man. Let's do something on the road. I'll also do one on the road with Casualties.
Hell yeah.
We are gonna go into the studio at the end of the year, and I will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be like, I'll let you, but
yeah, no.
It'll be something fun.
Yeah.
We'll there's a big reveal, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Dude, that's exciting, man.
And we'll I'm fucking lucky. My record's gonna drop with Starving Wolves May. I'm gonna be back in the studio with Casualties December. Crumbums will be playing somewhere in there. Life is good, life is hard, life is fun, and life sucks, but we trudge on.
Hell yeah, man. Anything that you think you could utilize, what I do to help out in any way, you just, reach out in any way. I'll do anything I can. And anytime you want to jump on the show, be it 10 minutes or 2 hours, don't matter. Let me know. I'm always down. I got 3 last questions and then I'm going to let you get out of here. The first question is, why does that thing behind you look like a big fucking tortilla, my guy?
Oh, because it's a burrito blanket.
Well, it is a tortilla. Holy shit. Bro, I was looking at that thing and I was like, it looks like a tortilla. That's amazing.
It's like those things. My name is David Rodriguez, TEJAS. Of course I have a burrito blanket.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, those new little I guess I'm
a Rodriguez. Of course I have a burrito blanket.
Right. Like
Poncho. Of course he has a burrito blanket.
Dude, I'd be like, man, I'm Irish. Of course my last name is Patty. I mean, that's real talk, dude. Fucking A, man.
Of course I use Jameson.
Right? Splash it on my neck. There we go.
I don't even drink it.
Yeah, I just want to smell like I'm fucked up all the time. People are like, that guy smells like an alcoholic. Like, oh yeah, drank in 10 years. So why does he smell like that? I don't know. So okay, the 2 last questions. They're the do what?
That's one. Okay.
Okay. These are the lame ones, but I love these questions because they're just fun for me. Okay. The first part of it is, what are you listening to right now? And is there any bands that you want to shout out to my listeners?
Okay. What am I listening to? Well, this is probably in your words, generic. But
dude, I'm gonna drop that word in every single video I do that has anything to do with you now, and just see if I can make it actually make sense and word it, and it'll be like our code now.
I know. Okay, so the number one bands of this year are Homefront and the Chisel.
Ooh, the Chisel's so fucking good, bro. Oh my goodness, is that record good? I don't know Homefront, but I will. At least I don't think I do.
So Homefront is probably the number one record on everybody's turntable right now.
Okay.
And do you remember a band called Wednesday Night Heroes?
I do. Yes, actually, I do.
It is the singer.
Okay.
And it's very you just make your own thing and let me know what you think about it. So
No, I'll definitely check that out.
that's what I'm listening to. But I also, I hit another big Dead to Me.
Okay.
And I love Cuban Ballerina. I love Little Brother. I love them all, but I went back into a Cuban Ballerina heavy phase. So
that one's different though, man. It's got a different vibe to it, bro.
yeah. So that's what I've been listening to a lot, and also the Germs.
Okay.
So
Old school shit.
I'm going new and old, and also I'm a huge Charlie Crockett fan.
What's that?
He's like South Texas country dude.
Okay. I feel like I should know that.
Yeah. Oh, you'll love it. So I listen to a lot of Charlie Crockett. For some reason, I've been way into the Germs, Dead to Me, the Chisel, and the Homefront. So in reality, I've kind of been playing those 5 bands on repeat and listening to a lot of music podcasts like Rick Rubin and Flea.
Dude, Rick Rubin's the shit, bro.
Yeah, Flea from Chili Peppers has a really cool podcast too.
Okay, I'll check that out, dude. I like him as a person more so than I like Red Hot Chili Peppers' music personally.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, of course. But I mean, there's just no taking away from that. He's an interesting character.
Oh, hell yes.
And everything doesn't have to be what I like.
Right.
I'm just like you and your audience. We have a lot. Like, here's a secret. Can you
yes. Oh yeah.
There's a lot of times we have friends that we don't like their bands, but we love them. There's a lot of people that don't like my music, but we're great friends. We have something to share. So just like that, Flea is a interesting and a very like sweet character.
Right. He is a very like gentle guy for such a rough around the edges fella.
And it takes like a rock. You get beaten the fuck up before you become smooth.
Right. No, for sure. It takes a lot of years, a lot of weather and water, a lot of erosion.
Yep.
Have you heard the band Lost Legion?
Mm-mm.
I'll send you a couple of album titles that you can, whenever you have the time, just check them out. I think you might dig them. If you like the Chisel, Lost Legion, you might dig. And they have a new album out that's really, really good. And then there's this band called Mean Jeans that's like a Ramones core band. Bro, their new record is badass, dude. It is front to back solid, man.
Cool.
All right, last question, and I'll get you out of here. This is the super lame question, and it's probably my favorite because of how lame it is. So if you can, I know you've probably toured with a lot of great acts. I don't even have to say that. I know for a fact that you've toured with a lot of great bands. But if you could tour right now, if you could jump on a bus or a van or whatever with, let's say, Starving Wolves, and you could tour with anybody for 4 weeks, who would it be and why? And it could be a couple of bands. It doesn't have to be just one.
God. Geez.
I know, right? It's an annoying question, but it's fun.
Because I'm old and I'm also a novice to a degree and a big fan, I would like to go on tour with the original members and the new singer of Sepultura.
Oh, wow. Dude, good answer. That was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Sepultura. That would be, bro, can you imagine Starving Wolves doing like a 4-week tour opening up for Sepultura?
Yeah. refuse, resist, and then
Bro.
dude, and here's a great thing, and it's funny because for some reason my dad was listening to like NPR, and he heard this big story about Sepultura. He's like, David, do you listen to Sepultura? Yeah, man, I love Sepultura. He's like, man, they went back to their roots. And I was like, are you talking about the album Roots? Yes.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it when somebody
Not even my dad doesn't really talk like that, but when he says it, like, David, do you listen to Sepultura? Yeah.
Bro, that's awesome.
Like they went back to the indigenous way of playing instruments. You have to hear it. And so I would love to go on tour with Sepultura. And also, I just have to say that being on tour with Waddy is... I've never been on tour, but we play shows together.
Okay.
And he's the living embodiment of UK 82 to this day, and he's such a kind, good guy that there's just I would pick just spending time with that dude more than almost anybody, because he's alive and he embodies 82. He embodies punk. He speaks his mind. He speaks the truth. And also a lot of people, they think something different. So it's hard to not have that in your mind.
Right.
And when you're with him, he flips your fucking lid, because it is exactly the way the world works. You think, just like you opened up, we're going all the way back again. You see me, you think all this about me, but you don't know me. You know how you opened up this conversation about
right, yeah.
And Waddy is just an amazing human, and an amazing character, an amazing front man, and I still can't wrap my head around him, because he's just Waddy.
I was doing a little bit of reading on him because I'm doing the second part to that series. I'm hopefully gonna have like a regular, probably be monthly, because it takes a lot of time to get one of those videos put together. But I'm doing one on the 82 stuff, and I'm also doing one on Indonesian punk rock, and I've got one lined up for women in punk rock. So that guy seems like an interesting dude, is my point, because I've been reading up on him a little bit, and like, I don't know a ton about the guy, but I was reading up, and he just seems like such a raw ass dude. Like, I hope to one day meet him. It'd be pretty cool.
He is, and maybe I can help hook that up when they.
Oh shoot. If you have the time and desire to do so, it'd be appreciated. But I hate to be the guy that's like, hey, I talked to you now. Can you help me get to this guy? Dude, look, I would absolutely accept that. But he's
just such really an interesting dude. And also what's just so interesting about him is like, you just kick it with him. And there's just funny.
Well, that's how I found out that most people are, by doing this channel, is like, most people, how easy was this conversation? We don't know each other. It's just easy because we have a lot in common, and that's the whole point of all this, is it's a community. The hardest part that I've found isn't oh shit. I bet his phone died. Well, we were wrapping things up anyways, so I will give it a second, and likely that'll be that. But David Rodriguez, David TEJAS, the Casualties, Starving Wolves, and OG of OGs, Crumbums out of TEJAS, Texas, Austin, Texas. Man, that was freaking rad. What a dream come true, man. If you're seeing this, David, it was a pleasure, man. I love this stuff. I'm living the dream as far as I'm concerned. I'm doing what I want to do. I think I was put here to talk with people and spread the word. And you know, this is my job here in this little punk rock universe. So you keep making music and I'll keep doing my thing, and we'll talk in the very near future. Everybody else out there, love you guys. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is a long one, but you know, we like to talk over here on the Punk Rock Review, man. Love you guys. Have a great night. Peace.